Hey guys, tired of feeling stuck in your dating life and striking out in the dating game? You're not alone. Maybe you just need some good coaching. Welcome to Just Ask Her, the no BS podcast for real dating advice straight from a woman's point of view. Dating expert Gracie Pleshcourt and her co-host, certified life coach Tracy Pleshcourt, are here to give you the play-by-play on how to attract more women you're interested in. So, let's take back control of your dating life. This is Just Ask Her.
Welcome back to Just Ask Her, the podcast that helps you date with confidence, connect with real women, and finally feel in control of your dating life. I'm your host, Gracie, here with my mom, co-host, and certified life coach, Tracy. We're excited to be back for another episode on Halloween Day.
Happy Halloween.
This is coming out after Halloween, but it is Halloween on the day that we are recording this. We should have dressed up, but we're just not really that kind of people with stuff like that. My mom does get into stuff like this when there's a competition involved or when it's an event.
If it's well organized, I'm all about it. Like, I appreciate effort when people do something that's organized or it's a well thought out theme or something like that. I can get behind that. I'm not the kind of person that just because it's Halloween, I'm going to walk into a coffee shop costume. That's not my jam.
It's so funny. I was talking to my Pilates instructor yesterday and I was asking him, do you get into Halloween at all? And he's like, no. I was like, do you pass out candy? Do you dress up at all? He's like, yeah, no, I'm just really not that type of person. And I respect the people who are very into it. I love that people can get into it. I love watching people get into it for themselves if that's their thing, but I don't love getting into it. Like if there's a Halloween party or costume contest, then I'll dress up, but I'm not dressing up to be number one. I don't know how to paint my face. I'm not going all out. I can tell you that.
Did you guys have any trick-or-treaters last year?
None. Not one. And we were here all night.
So do you have candy for this year?
No, because we're not even going to be here, but
Actually,
no.
As I'm saying that,
you don't have candy?
I don't have any candy. We have sugar-free candy that they probably would not appreciate. Probably our house egged.
My mom also thinks that she had the award for giving out the most creative type of candy. It's so funny because when I tell people what you used to give children and get so excited about, everybody's like, gross.
I still would be excited to get a super long licorice rope.
Like 5 feet tall licorice ropes.
Why would a kid not think that's amazing?
Because it's licorice.
I think it's like the greatest thing ever. Apparently, I am off base because Griffin had told me so.
Yours is probably the one that kids would trade.
A 5-foot licorice rope? You would think that they would trade it only if they're going to get like 20 pieces for it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny. I don't remember who I was talking to about what candy we trade out of our bags. And mine was always Butterfingers. I don't like Butterfingers. I also don't like Whoppers.
Yeah.
Those are disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows I'm a huge chocolate peanut butter fan. And
yeah, she loves Butterfingers.
And I love Reese's peanut butter cups. We always have Reese's peanut butter cups at our house at all times. The last time I was at the grocery store, I was thinking I probably should get Halloween candy, even though we haven't had any trick-or-treaters for the last 5 years. It's just another great excuse to get more Reese's. But I thought I was doing the responsible thing by not buying more Reese's, and we are completely out. I can't believe it. I ate the last Reese's peanut butter cup yesterday.
It's crazy that they're just gone after you eat all of them.
I gotta go to the grocery store because tomorrow's Halloween and I can't be empty-handed.
No.
Yeah.
I want to be the type of person that when we own a house, decorates and goes all in on something like that. I think that is fun. I maybe would get into that. I don't think I'd like the act of setting any of that up or taking it down.
What exactly do you like the act of? Seeing it done?
Yeah, seeing it. Literally, all the neighborhoods around us we have some bougie neighborhoods around, not ours, but around us are really bougie. These houses, I am not kidding. I have never seen people go all out like this before. Like the blow up things that are like 20 feet tall, literally bigger than their house. This is like insane.
Well, now they have those skeletons. They have the skeleton dogs and the skeleton people.
Oh, I know. There's one that literally is a replica of Meatball that we walk past every day. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's a wiener dog skeleton.
And then do they light it up?
Well, I've only seen it during the day.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe how elaborate these like sets.
I low-key want to like walk around the neighborhoods tonight just to like see it at nighttime.
You should. We should.
Yeah, well, I won't be here, but
we're going to the state high school football game to watch my nephew, who happens to be the place kicker for the football team and the goalie for the soccer team. And the football team made it to state. So they were not projected to make it. So this would clearly be the Cinderella story if they
that's
win.
Cool.
So we're going to go watch.
I'm going to go to a Halloween costume party.
And you're dressed as?
Sandy from Grease. And I just watched Grease for the very first time last night.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like the
Both
original. Do you like it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like corny as hell, but it's, yeah.
It's so funny.
I know all the songs. I haven't seen the movie, but all the songs get played all over TikTok. Of course, I've seen this costume on TikTok and I was like, I could do that. And I could do that from everything in my closet. Like, perfect.
All right, let's get into it.
Now that we've just bored you with our Halloween talk for 20 minutes. Submission 1 from Sal. I'm a 47-year-old father of 4, 20, 19, 16, and 13, separated for 3 years and currently finalizing my divorce. I've been the primary caregiver throughout, and between managing a bank and volunteering as a firefighter, life is full in a good way. After my separation, I did a lot of inner work through a men's group, healing old wounds, learning about attachment styles, and building self-confidence and self-awareness. I truly feel like a different man today, grounded, intentional, and clear about what I want in a relationship. I had a short phase of unhealthy dating, took time off to regroup, and since then, I've dated intentionally. I've had 2 3-month relationships and 1 7-month relationship where I fell in love again. All ended respectfully, just was misalignment. I usually meet women online, and attracting women isn't the issue. The challenge is alignment. I used to be anxiously attached. Now I'm secure, and I want someone emotionally stable and communicative. I've realized I can't keep engaging with an avoidant or disorganized attachment style because it drains me. And honestly, it feels like most women on the apps fall into those categories. I stay open and flexible, but I won't abandon myself again for a connection. Because of my commute and schedule, online dating feels like my only real option. I don't love the local bar scene. I want connection, not intoxicated vulnerability that disappears the next morning. My profile reflects my emotional intelligence, growth mindset, and desire for intentional dating, and yet avoidant partners still show up. It's exhausting. On top of that, my separated status and kids can be deal breakers for secure women, which I understand, but it's discouraging. I don't want to slip into a scarcity mindset, but right now I feel drained and tired of sorting through mismatches on apps. How can I meet emotionally available, intentional women who are truly aligned with the type of connection I'm looking for? Thank you for your podcast. It's provided me with clarity and helped me make adjustments along the way.
That is super nice to hear. I always love hearing that we make an impact for people.
Yeah.
Well, first off, Sal, I want to acknowledge how rare it is if you're not in Gracie's community. I have heard more people talk about attachment styles in the last month because I think Gracie recommended a book to a lot of the men in the community.
They're not taught in school.
Right. It's pretty rare that men understand them or do the work to understand them. And so I want to give him credit for being so emotionally mature. I think that's what it takes to do that kind of work.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is really good to understand yourself from that point of view. Attachment styles, if you don't know yours or you've never read about attachment styles or you don't know what we're talking about, there is a book called Attached by Amir Levine. I do think it is helpful information, but I also see that people use it in a self-sabotaging way. Mm-hmm. And it can be something that goes from you kind of like taking back your power in your dating life and understanding yourself better, and you using it as a tool to like select or eliminate other people. I don't think that is a helpful way to use these attachment styles. I'm always really clear about this with clients. I don't really like the idea of labeling yourself with an attachment style. I think that people have tendencies. You have tendencies that are now kind of being labeled as these attachment styles. And while that can be really helpful information to know so that you can understand the results that you're getting, and if you want to change those results, it's a lot easier to do when you understand where they're coming from. And at the same time, I see so often people being like, I can't date an avoidant, or I can't date somebody with an anxious attachment style, or I can't date, I think you said disorganized attachment style. It's like, what? Like,
well, so it kind of boils down to he did the work to become more of a secure attachment style. And now he's looking for a secure attachment style.
Which I don't think is uncommon. Of course, everybody should be looking for that. You should want a secure attachment style. And everybody has these tendencies. I think it's good to know, it's good to like recognize about somebody. But if you're constantly filtering people through these attachment styles, you're going to find it really hard to find anybody that matches your standards.
Yeah. And according to research, only 19% of adults identify as securely attached. Those who have the secure attachment style are likely looking for somebody else with that same style. So it's not like he's chasing the wrong person. Right. I think he's just fishing in a smaller pool. If only 19% are actually secure attachment styles, that's such a small percentage. I also believe that that type of person probably isn't flooding the dating apps. That style probably tends to meet others through community.
I would classify myself as more of a secure attachment, have more secure tendencies. And I was on the apps. I thought they were a great way to meet people.
But he doesn't. I think that
he doesn't because he's filtering through this. Lens. If you're looking for it, you're always going to find it. If you're constantly looking for all the bad things or all the things that are wrong, you're going to find them. When it comes to these things, you have to be so careful about labeling yourself, but also labeling other people. Because at the end of the day, everybody has their things. Yes, you want somebody who can communicate well. Yes, you want somebody who isn't going to run away from a relationship. Yes, you want somebody who isn't going to be attached at your hip. These are all things that we want, and those behaviors can be shaped through how you're modeling it as well. I have been in relationships where I would be considered more of an anxiously attached person. It was because of the behaviors that were happening in the relationship. Both sides were not a good fit for each other, and trying to make it fit brought out those tendencies and made me more anxious and made me more insecure. But that doesn't mean that I am like that person. I think everybody has experiences like that. Everybody's been in relationships that were not a good fit. That doesn't mean that they're not a good fit for relationships. It just means that they haven't yet figured out how to be in a relationship.
Sal has done the work, and he's a perfect example of somebody who went from one attachment style to another. And so I got to believe that modeling that sort of behavior in a relationship is going to have an impact on the other person.
Totally. And I'm not saying to lower your standards to people who are clearly not the right fit. I'm not saying that at all. If you're running into women who seem to have these patterns, it's more obvious to you now that you understand them. But making blanket statements that the women on the apps are all avoidant is just a fear-based thought. And it's normal. And when you're constantly noticing these patterns, I get where it comes from. But at the same time, it's very self-sabotaging.
Yeah. That's the root cause of the decision fatigue or the exhaustion he's talking about. 75% of users of dating apps report emotional exhaustion from using the app because they're sitting here filtering, and that activates a threat system inside of the brain. And that is exhausting when you're constantly feeling threatened. And
well, until you've actually been out on a date with somebody, the apps can skew your perception of what these women are really like out on dates. Like, it's not hard to believe that you're seeing all of these women as avoidance when that is just the reality of these apps. That is the reality of the fact that she's getting 100 messages on her side and she's not going on dates with 100 guys. It is unfortunate that the numbers are so skewed and that there's so much more competition for men on these apps. But at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily the women.
I think moving from dating apps to real life integration is going to be key for him, especially with all of the personal growth work he's done. That's going to be on clear display in a real life situation versus an app. So figuring out how to weave all of these strengths that he has into real life opportunities, asking himself the question, where can I bring all of my strengths into environments where emotionally mature women that I'm looking for are going to be? I think anytime you can find shared purpose with somebody, it's going to be the strongest predictor of a sustainable relationship.
I've talked about this in one of my videos about how proximity is one of the key predictors of whether or not a relationship is going to last or whether or not you're going to find your person. If you're never in proximity of the type of women you want to be with, then you're going to continue to find it hard to meet them. That starts at the level of your interest and the things you like to do, putting yourself in more of those places.
And exuding more energy, putting more effort into it. I know that it's not convenient based on the schedule that he's shared with us, but sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice that convenience. And you've got so much going on. Being a firefighter, you are a father, you are very service oriented. All of those things only benefit and being in the proximity of the type of woman you're looking for.
Your kids are doing things in school. I'm assuming they're in college. You could be putting yourself in some of these environments where single parents have a lot in common with you, who like are also looking for an emotionally stable and available person. And I'm not saying that you can only date other single parents, but that's just one option.
Yep. Any sort of volunteer work, civic organizations. I have single friends who have gotten involved with Habitat for Humanity. And they've met incredible people that way.
It's a volunteer organization.
Yeah, it's where they go build houses, people in need. So it's a huge effort, obviously.
Yeah.
But one that
you're probably around those people for an extended period of time, like getting to know each other.
Ton of gratification and
there's like literally a million different groups like that out there.
Any sort of community meetup, book clubs,
pickleball league,
any sort of interest group where the emotional intelligence is going to work for you, not against you.
It's the answer that like most guys just don't want to hear. And I get that going to the apps is the safest route.
And now that I've been doing more and more coaching inside of your group, oh man, it's the method that is most often complained about. You always say it has the least leverage. If it's not working for you, use one of the other two options, which is in real life.
That you have so much more leverage over.
Yeah, or your network. And you say that and they're like, yeah, no, I'll just stick with the
I'm too
apps.
busy. But then it's like you have time to waste exhausting yourself on these apps that aren't working for you. So it's like, really, where would you rather put the effort? I agree that it's going to be more effort, right? You actually have to get yourself into these places. You actually have to make the space for it in your calendar. And that is more effort. But at the end of the day, if the apps aren't working for you and you're noticing that you're feeling exhausted from them, that's a clear sign that it's time to move on from them.
And I would also challenge you, Sal, to replace that scarcity mindset, because right now, believing that every encounter or every relationship has been a failed connection. But if you thought of it more as neutral, you were able to leverage those experiences as gaining clarity. I think in business, I have to remind myself often that failure is the price of success. You are going to pay for your success through failed attempts. And I honestly think dating is no different. So every mismatched woman simply reaffirms the alignment that you're looking for. You're looking for a secure attachment style. And you're only reaffirming that through every experience. I was on a coaching call yesterday with somebody who said, I really don't know what it is that I want. But they do know what they don't want. That can be incredibly helpful. And so, Sal, I want you to recognize you've not only done the work on yourself to take yourself from an anxious attachment style to a secure attachment style, you've also done the work to figure out what it is that you're looking for, which is huge. The secure person you're looking for is worth the wait. Rechannel that energy from searching to being seen for all the work that you've done on yourself. Get out from behind the phone or the desktop and be seen. That's going to be your best strategy.
Women are much more attracted to guys that they can actually tell are doing the work, not just saying that they're doing the work. And I'm not saying that that's you. I think it goes so much further when they can actually see it in play than you just like reaffirming, I've done all of this work on myself. I'm a very self-aware. I've had conversations with men who use that as their best characteristic. And I'm like, that's amazing. And women are going to be so much more interested in that if they can actually see it. If you're never getting yourself into places where they would be able to see this characteristic at play. And it's going to be hard for that to ever actually land.
I'm trying to visualize that, and I don't see that in a bar. I see that in volunteer book clubs, meetups, professional networking events. That's where I see that.
It's finally here. The Self-Made Man Dating Journal is officially live and ready for you to grab on Amazon. This was designed specifically for single men who are serious about improving their dating life. It helps you track your dates, reflect on your experiences, and actually learn from them, so you can stop repeating old patterns and start seeing real progress.
What I love most about this journal is how intentional it is. It's not just about writing down what happened. It's about helping you get clear in what you want, confident in how you're showing up, and connected to what's working and what's not. You'll find daily prompts, weekly reflection pages, and the date log. You'll record everything from how you felt before the date, what went well, what felt off, and what you do differently next time. That kind of self-awareness is what sets successful daters apart. This journal will help you slow down, spot patterns, and become more intentional with every single interaction.
We only printed a limited batch for this first run, so if this is something you've been needing, go grab it now before they're gone. We'll drop the link in the show notes and let us know what you think. We love hearing your guys' feedback.
We can't wait for you to start using the Self-Made Man Dating Journal. Okay, so submission 2 is from Kyle, and he says, why do women no longer have hobbies? As someone who has been dating for years, I struggle to find women with similar interests as me, such as improv, comedy, cooking, outdoor activities, run club, volleyball, and fostering animals. Most women I meet only seem interested in talking about TV shows, napping, and ordering food. Do women even appreciate men with many hobbies, or do they see them as too preoccupied for a relationship?
I'd be really curious to know how old he is. Because the younger generation like this, he's not wrong. I'm laughing.
Because you can see yourself in that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, me. I sit here and I at home and I order food and all I do is watch TV.
I don't say that's all you do, but you definitely do that. So do I.
And napping.
You don't nap.
And I don't ever order food either, but I do watch TV for sure. For the younger generation, I think that's pretty accurate. At a younger age, it's a lot easier for women to meet people and have close-knit groups where they can do things whenever they want. It's less of a need when you're younger to step outside of your comfort zone and explore things like that. I do think that is definitely a newer trend that women are starting to step into. And maybe it's because my TikTok algorithm is like women in their adult era and wanting to try new things, especially after COVID. There is more of an upswing of people wanting to get out of the house and do more things and try things out.
I too wonder how old he is, because I do think women more my age are overextended. I think about myself and what causes me to sit down, turn on reality TV and order in or feel like I need to take a nap because I am so overscheduled and overextended. Women have higher levels of stress and are emotionally exhausted, and it's their way of coping. I think our social norm is self-care through rest and activities. Watching TV and napping can be a coping mechanism for burnout. It doesn't really surprise me. I think it kind of made me giggle because it sounds off base, but if you really think about it, that's probably true.
I know. I always laughing too because I was like, okay, like how stereotypical. But I think there's merit to both sides. I know plenty of women in different hobby groups, interest groups, run clubs, volleyball, and like foster animals. Making blanket statements like this is not helpful to you for sure.
Right.
Because all it's doing is reaffirming for you, like, oh, I shouldn't put myself out there. I shouldn't try because women don't put themselves out there anyways.
Your primitive brain always wants to be right. So it's going to look for evidence to prove that statement true. So women don't have hobbies anymore. Your brain's out there scanning for all of the examples of that. It's not looking for the alternative. I think there's real value in creating a reframe. Your frustration can actually be like a compass that's pointing towards the type of women that you value. You value the woman who invests in herself, who has a lot of interests and has a lot of energy.
Right. And
that doesn't have to be a critique of others. You can make that mean that you have real clarity around who it is that you're looking for. So rather than interpreting the landscape as women don't have hobbies, see it more as I haven't yet positioned myself where my values are visible. Take that responsibility. It's going to feel so much more empowering.
I wonder where you're meeting women that only like to hang out inside and nap and order food, because I would have a hard time believing you're meeting any of those women at these interest groups you're talking about. You said, like, how do I meet like-minded singles when they're not present? I'm assuming that means when you're out at these groups or things you like to do, they're not there. And I think that the thing I always start with clients is switch it up. Pick a different time or a different night to play club volleyball. Pick a different run club to try out. Pick a different outdoor activity to try. Go to a cooking class. There's so many different options, and it's just our scarce mindset that's like, I do everything and I still don't meet women. And it's like, well, maybe you're just not doing the right types of things at the right time. Like there's so many options that we can actually try, and it takes effort for sure. But I think the bigger effort is getting over that self-sabotaging belief that there just are no women out there like you that like these things, because it's just simply not true.
Yeah. And as for your last question, yes, I do think women deeply appreciate men with interests, but they appreciate them most when those interests aren't going to compete with their time. Speaking from personal experience,
my dad has the most hobbies. My dad is involved in every single hobby known to man.
Every league that you can be on, he's on it.
Bowling, fishing, golf, beer club,
bourbon or whiskey or something.
Everything.
Fantasy football.
Yeah.
We could go on. But it's so interesting because I used to use that against him until one day I was tired of that narrative and I'm feeling resentful. I had to ask myself, what's the alternative? Do I really want somebody who's home all the time, cracking a beer, watching football, or gaming? No, he's super active in such a diverse type of interests. He can talk to anybody about anything. Like he's also a hunter. He knows everything about having a boat on a lake.
The right women are really actually going to appreciate it for you. Like how I was talking about at the beginning, how I appreciate that people get into Halloween, even though it's not my thing. But the right women are going to appreciate these things, even if they don't connect with you fully on them. Diversifying your hobbies and interests does give you the upper hand. You have more things to talk about. You have like more things to align on. And there are so many other good things that come from putting yourself in these settings outside of directly meeting women. Not that you can't do that. You absolutely can. And I would highly recommend switching up how you're attending these different types of things. But on the whole, there's so many benefits to being a guy that has a diverse display of hobbies and interests.
And I think the line between engaged and unavailable is drawn by how emotionally present you are when you're with her. Because he said he was worried about what they would think.
Oh, if he has too many hobbies. Yeah.
And I think as long as when you're present with her.
Yeah, when you're with her, you're present. Yeah, on your phone.
Looking through Golf magazine.
Probably more accurately on your phone.
Yeah. So our parting word, don't dim your light. I said this to a client the other day because it was actually a very similar conversation. And I encouraged him, this is not the time you want to dim your light or dim your curiosity to fit into that dull dating pool. He was complaining about the dating apps. I wanted to encourage him to stay in motion, stay interesting, meet women through the life you are in the progress of building. And the right woman is not going to see your hobbies as a distraction. She's going to see it as evidence that you know how to live a full life. And if that's attractive to her, she's going to be all in. So you got to keep doing what you're doing. It's an abundant mindset versus the scarcity mindset. Hey there. If you're loving the Just Ask Her podcast, please take a quick second to rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps more awesome listeners like you find the show. And don't forget to spread the love by sharing this episode with all of your friends. All right, back to Just Ask Her.
All right, the last submission was written in by Greg, and it says, "G'day, ladies. I'm a 40-year-old Australian, sergeant in the Air Force, introverted at first, but warm and funny once I open up. I have a great life, financially stable, well-traveled, healthier than ever, and a dog dad to the cutest pup. But dating has been rough. I keep seeing the same pattern. Things start strong, she goes cold, tells me nothing's wrong, and then I find out there was someone else. This has happened to me so many times I can't ignore it. Even after therapy, talking to friends, and doing the inner work, here are some examples. Story 1. Met a woman at boot camp. We developed feelings while in other relationships, then ended them and eventually got together. Things were great until New Year's. She suddenly shut down, wouldn't dance with me, wouldn't kiss me at midnight, and insisted nothing was wrong until she finally admitted that she was still in love with her ex. Story 2. Years after a brief fling, I reconnected with a single mom I worked with. Things got serious. She even planned to give me a birthday I never had due to childhood trauma. Days before, she ghosted me, denied anything was wrong, then disappeared. I later learned that she spent the entire weekend with another guy. Story 3. Matched with someone in a small town. No spark at first, but we stayed friends and eventually gave it a try. The day after, we slept together. I got COVID and was out for 2 weeks. She stopped talking to me and then posted a video kissing her ex. Story 4. Matched with someone long distance, immediate sparks. She supported me through my dad's terminal cancer until the day he died. Then she suddenly went cold. At the funeral, she admitted 2 exes had come back in her life and she couldn't decide. I walked away. After that, I took 2 years to rebuild myself, emotionally and physically. Recently, I've tried dating intentionally again. I matched with a woman who seemed aligned. She messaged constantly, talked about how well suited we were, and we planned a date. She delayed once, then pulled back hard. On the morning of the date, she texted saying she suddenly, in quotes, had no feelings and wouldn't be meeting me. It felt eerily familiar. At this point, it's hard to not see a pattern. When a woman suddenly pulls back, my brain goes straight to, here we go again. I don't react. I remind myself it's trauma talking, but it keeps proving itself true. How do I break this pattern and trust again without constantly waiting for the rug to be pulled out from under me? Just for context, this was a really long submission, so we had to cut it down a lot. There might be added things that we bring into play to give context, but that's the gist of the story.
Yeah. And Greg, I want to acknowledge the honesty and detail that you shared with us. It takes a lot of courage to look back at these patterns without being bitter or cynical. He is acknowledging that he's really trying hard not to react. And that kind of awareness is a sign of you're ready to be intentional. That's what I truly believe a self-made man is. It's somebody who takes responsibility, doesn't point fingers, isn't blaming, is like, okay, I'm ready to look at these patterns and figure out what I can do about it. So what stands out most isn't really the women's behavior. It's the story that your mind is making up around it. Like, this always happens to me. Because that's your primitive brain. And again, it's going to go out and look for evidence. It wants to be right. So when that story repeats itself enough, the brain will go out and find evidence. It's called confirmation bias. And I mean, we talk a lot about it in the coaching world, but you actually do hear it mainstream.
I mean, it's a psychology term.
Basically, it just means once your nervous system has been triggered, it starts to expect that same sort of feeling over and over, that unwanted feeling of betrayal. And it becomes hypervigilant to all the cues that could point towards rejection. And that vigilance, that saboteur narrative, it'll start to change the way you show up. It's going to start to change your tone and your openness, which will unintentionally create a self-sabotaging pattern and keep you living in fear.
I think each of these stories, and like I said, we had more context to go off of, but I can see the red flags in each one before she walked away. Exactly to your point. It's always in retrospect, looking back at it, it's easier to pick a pattern to make it make sense why these things have been happening. But at the end of the day, there were other things going on in this. I'm not saying it's right that any of these women walked away or cheated on you, but I also think that there's things in these stories that, like, the the first one, for example, he started the relationship off being in other relationships. So there are probably things that are not being considered when you're getting into these new relationships. And that's not uncommon. It can be really hard to slow things down and look at things objectively when emotions are high and you're excited about somebody and you want things to work out with somebody and you want to be in a relationship so badly. It can be blinding to the actual story. And I think that is more of what's going on than anything else. Like, there are signs in a lot of these that if you were looking at it objectively or from an outsider's perspective, I can clearly see them. And sometimes it's hard to see them when you're in it, especially when you're in all of those feelings. But I want to point this out because I think that there is a deeper issue here than you always picking the woman that's going to leave you for somebody else.
Yeah, that deeper issue is self-trust, period. Instead of asking, why does this keep happening? I want you to ask, what am I making this mean about me when it does happen? Because right now, the pain that you're experiencing seems less about being left and more about being misled. And interestingly enough, that's an integrity wound. And integrity wounds heal not by mistrusting other people, but through radical self-trust. So that's where your focus has to lie. It has to lie on how much you trust yourself to feel the uncomfortable feelings without trying to numb them or run away from them. It is more emotional work than you've already done. And I think that you're ready to hear that, Greg. I think that you have done enough work to believe that there's still some more work to be done. We talked last week about the manual, which is just having an expectation that other people will behave a certain way so that you can feel something. And when you learn how to drop that manual and take responsibility and learn to trust yourself, that people are going to act however they want to act. And your job is not to try to control them. Your job is to decide how it is that you want to think and feel. And if you can decide that ahead of time, you win. And so it all boils back to self-trust, really like getting in the reps of being able to do that, making decisions ahead of time about how it is you want to think and feel, and trusting that you know how to do that and that you are going to stay in integrity with your decision. It changes everything. And I think that's where he's at. There's research from personality and social psychology that found people with secure self-concepts recover from romantic betrayals more quickly, not because they trust others more, but because they trust themselves to handle emotional pain. That's the work. And learning that you can experience disappointment without collapsing into self-doubt is everything. Practically speaking, what does that look like? You've already named the pattern, but I want you to name the pattern using just facts or in the most neutral way possible. It could sound like, I notice that I attract emotionally unavailable partners. You're taking the responsibility and you're being very factual about it. That's the first step. Naming the pattern in a very neutral, factual way. The second step is detaching from that identity. You can tell yourself, that's a reflection of my past choices. It's not a reflection of my worth. It has nothing to do with my value. And then the third step is decide what you'll do differently. This is what we take our clients through every single week. We do a call called the reset call, and it's all about making decisions ahead of time. At the end of the week, reflecting what worked, what didn't work, what am I going to do different next time? Decide ahead of time what you'll do differently. You can choose to believe, I only continue relationships where communication matches consistency. Decide ahead of time. That's going to be the different approach. And then the fourth step is let people reveal themselves early without panic. Brene Brown,
best-selling author,
did a ton of research on vulnerability. She says people earn trust through small acts over time. recognize that the goal isn't to predict the betrayal like you're starting to do with your primitive brain. It's to stay grounded enough to see reality as it unfolds. Give it time. Give people time to show you instead of jumping to those knee-jerk, painful, limiting belief reactions. You do not need to become more suspicious of women. You need to become more certain of who it is that you are. You are becoming a self-made man, Greg. Put your brain on the task of finding the evidence for that. I think that's the kind of energy that's not only going to break this pattern, it's going to attract the people who are going to be able to keep up with the standard of integrity that you have. Thank you so much for writing in. This was a great submission. All three were really good submissions. They definitely had some common threads running throughout them. And keep the submissions coming.
Yep, that's all we've got for you for this week's episode. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday. So we will see you right back here next week. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Dating with Gracie. And as a reminder, no matter where you are or what you're doing, just ask her.